this becomes a stressor, people, for the pitching staff. Because why? They believe they have to be perfect because they won't get picked up by their bats. So in their effort to be the best kind of pitcher that they want to be perfect. That might lead to nibbling on the strike zone. And that nibbling might bring overthinking and not executing to your game plan. And boom, you have 2 walks, a blooper, a 3-run shot, and the game's over because your guys can't score 3 or 4 runs.
I mean, if I'm the Rays, I consider that a win because you didn't make the playoffs. You were under 500. You had a boring product, see offense. You didn't have Hunter. You didn't have Shane. You traded Randy at the deadline along with Paredes and so many other guys.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Rays, your daily podcast covering everything Tampa Bay Rays, from game analysis to player interviews. We've got you covered with all the latest news and insights. My name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano,
bringing you expert analysis and passionate discussions about our beloved Rays.
Whether you're a diehard fan who vividly remembers Longo's Game 162 just like us,
or you remember those early Devil Ray days of Wade Boggs and Carl Crawford,
we're here to break down every play, every trade, and every milestone. In fact, this is our 6th season covering the Rays daily.
In every season, they've gone to the playoffs up till 2024, but you can still grab your favorite Rays gear, settle in, and subscribe to our Locked On Rays YouTube channel and other podcast platforms. You can also find us on X and Instagram at Locked On Rays.
This episode is brought to you by PricePicks. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONMLB to win $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. PricePicks, run your game.
All right, Ulises, today's show, of course, it being a Friday, we'll have trivia and Name That War, but we also wanted to look back a tad on the 2024 campaign and highlight 3 key stats that defined the season one way or another. And as an addendum, or parentheses, as you like to say, we got to get started on the player reviews. I see other Locked On MLB shows roll those out. So at some point, I don't know, maybe as soon as next week, we'll have to get those dandy. And we have some other fun topics as well for you going along the way. But in the meantime, you've got 3 key stats that define the season. I've got 3 key stats that define the season. So I'll let you do the honors with what you got.
Before I do that, Kevin, I think we need to tell people about an idea we have for the offseason.
Good idea.
Yes. So we want to do something different during the offseason. We usually do prop bets during the year. And guess what? We could not find the Google Doc sheet.
Enter McGee completely dropped the ball.
You know what?
Fumbled it like an NFL player that fumbles it a lot. I can't get a good reference right now.
I think we should fire Enter McGee. Honestly, that's my take.
Yeah, well, I think he might have had some hurricane issues, so maybe he lost the data in the hurricane. Look, he's given me a whole song and dance. I wanted to bring it to you as well, but
he's very lippy. Yeah. He just knows what to say.
He was supposed to, and he's a behind the scenes guy, but when he talks to us, he's very vivid. But yeah, I think we might have to do something about that. I'm willing to give him one more chance, but he better mark what we have prepared or what we have in mind for our off-season prop bet idea with listener input.
All right, Enter McGee, you better be listening on to this episode. So our idea is we need your help. If you're listening to Locked On Rays, we need your help. If you're watching Locked On Rays right now, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't, and then listen up because we need your help. You will be creating the prop bets. You will let us know what you think would be a good prop bet. And guess what? We're going to make what game? Should we even say the name of the game? Or akin to the game that we all know and love?
I'm okay. I don't think there's any trademark issues with that.
All right, cool. We want to make a Jeopardy game.
Yeah.
With your prop bet. So if you have a good prop bet and you're like, this is a 500 prop bet, write it to us. And if you think it's, hey, this is a 100, this is an easy prop bet. Put the prop bet 100, send it to us. Where do I send it to? lockedonrace@gmail.com. But hey, I already talked to you on DMs on X or Twitter. Send it on DM and X Twitter.
Yep.
And then we're going to be compiling all of these. Hey, I'm only a YouTube commenter. Drop it down in the YouTube comments right now.
Do that.
And we're going to conglomerate all of these prop bets. We're going to give them to Intern McGee. And
he can't drop the ball this time.
Cannot drop the ball, because then you guys are going to pick it with us. And we're going to go ape blank on Intern McGee.
And he's been around for a long time, but still, you make one too many mistakes and you got to go.
Got to go.
All right. So, yeah, hopefully that gives you an idea. Throw in those offseason prop bets. Like, for example, Juan Soto. He'll sign a contract for over under $500 million, something to that effect, or $499.5 million.
Exactly.
Will the Rays extend one of their players this offseason? Those are the types of things that we're for.
Will Pete Fairbanks be on the team by opening day?
Yes. All those are good.
Stuff like that. But again, only off-season stuff, people. You can't be saying like
adjacent. Yeah.
It can't be like, oh, Josh Lowe will have 20 more or more home runs. No. That's already in the season. Off-season prop bets.
Yes, that's what we're looking for. All right. Without further ado, 3 stats that you want to give the audience here.
3 stats that describe the 2024 season for the Rays. Strikeout rate.
Oh boy.
They were tied 5th in the league with a 24.7 strikeout rate. You might say, well, that's high, but hey, that's you're not first. The thing is, all the teams with a higher K percentage hit at least 13 more home runs than the Rays.
Yep.
And yeah, and there's teams that hit as high as 52 more home runs than the Rays. So yeah, you're not the worst at your K rate. You're 6. But all of the teams that have a worse K percentage at least are getting more home runs, which that's the trade-off in 2024 ball. You can strike out a lot, but at least give me homers. Well, the Rays are striking out a lot and not getting you those homers. So that's one stat for me that it's like you need to bring that K rate down or do something else. And that something else is very difficult to do.
Yeah, no, that's big. You can't exchange K rate with stolen bases. The Rays stole a lot of bases, but it didn't obviously get them enough runs. But you can deal with a robust K rate if you have the homers to prove it. And that was one of the issues with the Rays. And if you notice, a lot of those teams with the high strikeout rates, like the Rays, there were some crummy teams in there too. So
yeah, if you don't know that, that's the Colorado Rockies. They did not make it to the playoffs. The Seattle Mariners did not make it to the playoffs. The Boston Red Sox did not make it to the playoffs. Oakland Athletics did not make it to the playoffs. And the Pittsburgh Pirates did not make it to the playoffs.
No.
High strikeout rate, maybe not a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 2. Stat rate number 2. They were 29th in runs scored with 604. They only were above the Chicago White Sox, who are now the worst team in the history of this beloved game. 29th in runs with 604. That means 3.72 runs per game. This is, and I think Kevin has spoken about this a couple times during the offseason, this is the lowest ever for a Rays team since 2008 for a full season. For comparison's sake, in 2022, when we had that offense that was mediocre at 100 WRC plus, this year they were less than mediocre. They were at 95 WRC plus. And this becomes a stressor, people, for the pitching staff. Because why? They believe they have to be perfect because they won't get picked up by their bats. They know that those guys are not going to pick them up. So in their effort to be the best kind of pitcher that they want to be perfect. That might lead to nibbling on the strike zone. And that nibbling might bring overthinking and guys on base and not executing to your game plan. And boom, you have 2 walks, a blooper, a 3-run shot, and the game's over because your guys can't score 3 or 4 runs. So that, for me, the run scored is pretty telling, pretty obvious one, but it had to be said.
No, you're on the right path there. And with the pitching, it makes it even more difficult when you have a young pitching staff that is trying to find their bones, like Taj Bradley and Ryan Pepio and Shane Boz and some of the other relievers coming up. So one more run. That's really all they needed in so many of those games, and their record would be so different. And based on the stat line that you screenshotted, you have runs scored, and then if you toggle over to WRC plus, that is the lowest since 2008.
Yeah.
And offensive value, according to Fangraphs, is a negative 30.5. That is the lowest since 2008. WAR is the lowest since 2008. I'm assuming that's offensive WAR, or maybe it's just general WAR.
General WAR on the right, and then offensive WAR is under offensive. Yeah.
It's regardless, it's nasty numbers. Not in a good way.
This was not a good offense in 2024. And the seal clappers out there might say like, don't let them fool you. This was a bad offense.
Yeah.
The numbers are there.
And lowest batting average too.
Yeah.
And on base percentage. I mean, look at these are, it's crazy.
It's crazy. Guys, download from 2008 to 2024, basically almost every stat. It's insane how bad this was. So yes, run scored for me makes it on there. And number 3, just to pick people up because people don't like too much negativity. Solid pitching staff. They were really solid. 4th in WHIP at 1.20. That's among the best pitching staff in the league. They don't let guys on through walks or hits. And as an add-on, they also had a top 9 ERA. Now, people can, talk badly about ERA in 2024, and with good reason sometimes. We know that ERA can be very subjective depending on the scorers and the defensive scheme that you have behind you playing, all that. But it's funny how even though ERA is not perfect, and I don't think a lot of any stat is perfect, but even though ERA is not perfect, out of those 9 teams with the top ERAs, only 2 of those teams did not make it to the playoffs. The Seattle Mariners, who had the second best, tied at 3.49, and the Tampa Bay Rays in the 9th spot with a 3.78. All other teams with a top 9 ERA made it to the dance. So the Rays had one part of the formula down, the pitching, that'll get you to the playoffs. But when you have this offense that just goes nowhere, actually, is it fair that they go nowhere? Because if they go nowhere, they're staying still. This team was going backwards.
Yeah, especially after the All-Star break.
Especially after the All-Star break. So nobody wants to go backwards on anything, especially when things start to get a little hot and steamy, Kevin.
Yes. And that's a good segue into what we have to talk about, and that is HIMS. HIMS is changing men's healthcare by providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. It's really easy to do. The process is 100% online, so there's no need for those uncomfortable doctor's visits. Nobody likes going to the doctor, right? Just answer a series of questions on their site, and a medical provider will determine the right treatment option. If prescribed, your medication ships directly to you in discreet packaging for free. No insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. With hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, HIMS can help you find the ED option that works for you. So don't waste time here, guys. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/lockedon. That's HIMS.com/LOCKEDON for your personalized ED treatment options. One more time, hims.com/lockedon. All right. I liked your 3 stats there. I also wanted to put forth 3 stats that are somewhat related as well. One, throwing a little bit of a curveball, the average attendance this year was 16,515. Low by major league standards, but really not terrible by Rays standards. It actually kind of surprised me because if you look back in 2023, where the team went 99-63, they averaged 17,781 fans. In 2022, where they went 86-76 and made the playoffs, they drew 13,927 fans. We know what happened in 2021 with winning 100 games, but the attendance was way lower because of the whole COVID situation. But I guess I'm more so comparing the attendance from this year to the 99 win season last year. And I mean, if I'm the Rays, I consider that a win because you didn't make the playoffs. You were under 500. You had a boring product. See offense. You didn't have Hunter. You didn't have Shane. You traded Randy at the deadline along with Paredes and so many other guys. And my conspiracy theory to this is that maybe people kept going to games or kept supporting the team because there was some finality and conclusion to the whole stadium saga. That it's like, okay, we don't have to boycott or give our money or not give our money to Stu anymore. There's nothing wrong with going to games here because that was such a cloud over the whole fan base. And then when it was, the news was coming, we know even before it was a done deal that it was going to be a done deal, that you could breathe a sigh of relief and say, okay, this is still going to be our team for the next 30, 35 years.
I think it definitely helped. It's crazy to say that they actually had better attendance overall than when they finished 86-76 in 2022. That's nuts. I mean, that's what you said, 3,000, almost 2,500 people more per game. Yeah. Do we know the amount of money the average fan spends at the Trop?
I do not have those records in front of me. My guess, just one fan or a family of four?
Ooh, good one.
I guess you would say if you average.
Let me get Stu on the phone. Let me get Stu on the phone.
Stu on the phone. I mean, one person, you're buying a $35 ticket. You're parking. That's $50-$55. You buy a beer and a hot dog. I mean, that, I don't know, $70-$75 maybe. Okay. Not to mention all the people that buy multiple beers and multiple hot dogs and buy merch.
But some people might do zero of that.
Yeah, so you got to average that out.
So average that out.
I feel like that's some proprietary Rays information, but I would think it's a pretty good chunk of change.
Let's say $80.
Yeah, I think that's a fair guesstimation. So,
I mean, that's money in your pocket.
So they really didn't lose that much. I mean, and then you dump so much payroll at the deadline, and you're still drawing a similar amount of fans.
And when you won 99 games.
Yeah, that's what's crazy to me.
That's insane. Very good stat. Okay, what's your second stat?
All right, second stat. We've kind of mentioned it already, but home runs. The Rays were 28th in all of baseball this year. Just 147 homers in 162 games. So averaging under one dinger per game. Moreover, there was just one player, Brandon Lowe, who had more than 20 homers. I think he had 21. So it's not like, okay, you have Brandon Lowe with, it wasn't a Jose Ramirez situation or, insert analogy of one player hitting 40 and then a bunch of other guys hitting 12 to 18. It was Brandon Lowe, then big drop off from there. And this is what I'm trying to hammer or emphasize is you got to add more home runs to the roster in 2025 because when the Rays hit home runs, they win games, at least in recent years. 2023, they went 99-63. Like we mentioned, the Rays were sixth in all of baseball with 230 home runs. 2021, Rays went 162. They were tied for sixth in baseball with 222 home runs. Now, I'm not saying you have to jump up to that level, but I think we mentioned it with Klosky. You got to add another 30-35 home runs to that roster in 2025. So instead of hitting 147, you need to be hitting 177, 180 at least.
We've hammered the homer thing, and we're gonna keep doing it because it's very blatant. And when you put it that way, 147 and 162, woof, that hurts. And when you put it into like one player only had more than 20 home runs, that hurts. And so knowing that hurts, I need one more stat for you that really hurts me.
And I hate to single a guy out, but I got to do it. Especially because he was part of the Isaac Paredes deal. Chris Morell's stat line since joining the Rays. 49 games.
Okay.
He hit just 3 home runs. He had a 191 batting average, 258 on base percentage, 289 slug, 547 OPS, 57 OPS plus. So basically, we got Taylor Walls for 50 games. And Chris Morell is a guy that with Chicago, I know, he's been injured and not fully available over the years. But if you extrapolate his numbers across 162 in his time with the Cubs, he has legitimate 25 to 30 home run power. I mean, you look at his bat speed and how hard he hits the ball. He just has to make contact with the ball and figure it out. You have to get Chris Morell to be a poor man's Isaac Paredes, some ways, some form. I think that's part of the solution for them in 2025, because you can't roll out this stat line for 130 games next season. It's not going to work.
No, it's not going to work. And you have to, Neander said some really interesting quotes there saying like maybe he was pressing a little bit, new environment and all that. And we've always talked about this. They're not stat points on a sheet. They are human beings. You take them away from everything they've ever known, from people that are their friends, from knowing new security guards, trying to know a locker room. In the locker room, people are expecting things from you because they know who you are, and you know that they know who you are and what you're supposed to be bringing. You also know the guy who left for you. So, in all the things that he provided for that team, it's a lot of things in the human aspect. So, of course, I think in this pod, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt for 2025. Right. But just know that after 2025, if the numbers don't pick up, it starts to look kind of ugly.
Yeah. We can't have a Hunter Renfroe on our hands where he does so good and shows so much potential with another organization and then totally falls off the handle with the Rays. You just can't stomach or afford that, unfortunately.
No, you can stomach it, but what you can stomach is go to PricePicks. Yeah. Because when you go to PricePicks, people, you're going to have a lot of fun, okay? PricePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. They've got over 10 million members and billions, that's a B, of dollars in awarded winnings, okay? So, Kevin, for example, Justin Jefferson, do you think he would be throwing more than 83.5 receiving yards at a game?
I think he would, yeah. He's a pretty darn good receiver.
What about Patrick Mahomes?
He invented the gritty. He invented the gritty, so that's a bump in my book.
Okay, that's good. Patrick Mahomes for less than 267.5 passing yards. Would you take that?
No, I would pick the over.
I would pick the over too, and I don't really know a lot about football, so that's a bad line. And that would be making more green Skittles if I do that. And you can do that too. Download the app today, PricePicks, and use code LOCKEDONMLB and to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first dollar lineup. PricePicks, run your old game.
All right, it is a Friday episode and time for baseball trivia. Name that war. Ulises, what do you have in the avenue of baseball trivia for me?
The Guardians and Yankees are an often seen rivalry in the playoffs, Kevin. Mm-hmm. Since 1997, they've met 7 times. The last time the Guardians won, they weren't even called the Guardians. They were called the Indians. In 2007, when they took the ALDS 3-1 against the New York whatevers. 9 Cleveland players had 10 or more ABs during that ALDS series. I need you to name 4 of those 9 players.
In the 2007 ALDS?
For the Guardians. Or the Indians.
Jim Thome.
Strike 1.
Manny Ramirez.
Strike 2. Whoa, you're going 90s, babe. I'm asking 2007.
Grady Sizemore.
There we go. That's 1.
Travis Hafner.
That's 2.
Sizemore, Hafner, Johnny Peralta.
Yes, number 3. Let's go. Give me one more.
Okay. I'm going to be like that Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, the guy who won it first and called his dad. Is like, oh, I got this. I'm just calling you because I got this. Victor Martinez.
Let's go. That's my boy with the Venezuelan bump for the fourth one.
Yeah.
And the others, Casey Blake, Asdrubal Cabrera, the Rays legend. Kenny Lofton was still playing with the Indians back then. Look at that. Ryan Garco, very good name, that war name. And Franklin Gutierrez. Again, Venezuelan bump for that. Very good, man.
Awesome. Thank you. That was a fun question. It brought me back to my video game playing days. That was a fun team to watch, honestly.
That was a fun team.
Sizemore, Hafner, all those guys. They had some studs. Victor Martinez. Just that's the offense we need for the Rays. Guys that plug him in the lineup, 30 home runs. Sizemore would have been so good if he didn't get hurt. Oh my gosh.
I hate me.
My name that war, where we take a player from the past, try to guess their career war, baseball reference, see how close we can get. This guy played for the Indians, Guardians, then Indians. I said that wrong. He played for the Cleveland organization a long time ago when they were the Indians. There we go. He also played for the Mets. That might be what he's best known for. He is also known for his mustache. Keith Hernandez, what is his career baseball reference war?
And you forgot the best thing he's ever done, which is appeared in Seinfeld.
True. Yes.
So,
great.
Yes, there's that. Keith Hernandez, really good first baseman, really good bat. I'm pretty sure he's like Hall of Fame adjacent.
Hall of Fame adjacent is what Ulises says.
It's what Ulises says. That tells me that I might be wrong and overstating his.
I'm not saying anything.
Gotcha.
I'm Switzerland here.
You know what? Very Geneva of you. Off the hip, I think he is. People talk about him like he was the blank.
He was like on Seinfeld.
And he was on Seinfeld.
Who else was on Seinfeld? Jeter, Bernie Williams,
Mickey Mantle.
Yeah, not bad company.
Let's go with 52.
52 is what Ulises puts forth. So Keith Hernandez, MVP, 5-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champion, won a batting title, 2-time Silver Slugger, 11-time Gold Glove champion. He played in the league from 1974 to 1990, 10 years with the Cardinals, 7 years with the Mets, and 1 year with Cleveland. 2,182 hits, 162 homers, 296 career batting average, hit a crap ton of doubles, scored a crap ton of runs, drew a crap ton of walks, hit 344 in a season, had a 408 on base percentage in a season. Just really good numbers all around. OPS plus of 128. Bottle all that up. What do you get? Not a 52 WAR, but a 60.3 WAR. Hall of Fame adjacent would be an accurate term for Keith Hernandez.
He's Hall of Fame.
He is not in the Hall of Fame, but
so Hall of Fame adjacent, man. Like
Hall of Fame adjacent. Hall of very, very, very good.
Hall of very
get a couple Hall of Fame votes.
Hall of maybe I should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, if he got to 200 homers, then maybe he gets in. I think that was probably part of the drawback.
Yeah.
He's a first baseman and he's
the pop,
hitting
why
12 home runs a year.
Why do you need pop when you have that mustache?
I know, that's a good point. I mean, Wade Boggs got in. Wade Boggs had the mustache.
Boggs got in, exactly. This has been really fun. Another call to action. Give us your prop bets. YouTube commenters, put it on the YouTube comments and tell us, this is a 500. No, this is a 100. No, this is a 200, 300, 400, whatever you want. Put it in the comments. Put it on the DMs. Put it on lockedonrace@gmail.com. Send it as a voice memo, whatever you want. And we're going to conglomerate all those puppies up and then make a badass Jeopardy game. And it'll be great.
Yes, and we'll give you a shout out too. In the meantime, thank you for making Locked On Rays your first listen every day, including today. For your second listen, find Locked On MLB. Prepare for the Fall Classic with our buddy Soli, who has it all covered every single day. Find Locked On MLB on the YouTubes or wherever you listen to those podcasts.